Jackson. A White House official says that Dr. Jackson has returned to the White House medical unit, but has not returned as the president's physician. The official says it is unclear if that will happen. Another physician, we are now told, has been serving as the president's doctor since the Jackson nomination, since he was nominated to be Secretary of Veterans Affairs, although he may have pulled the plug on his bid to run the Veterans Affairs Department. The questions that torpedoes his nomination have not gone away, and we now have new reporting on that tonight. We'll bring that to you momentarily. First, though, the president's two-word take on it.
They have this witch hunt going on with people in the Justice Department that shouldn't be there. It's a witch hunt.
It's a witch hunt. That's all it is.
A witch hunt, he says, but that's not quite all, he says.
Ronny Jackson, Admiral Doctor, is one of the finest men that I've met over the last long period of time. High quality family. I just met them. And I explained what happened. I explained that Washington can be a very mean place. To make statements of things that most people said never happened, never even happened. Calling them names was, to me, a disgrace, an absolute disgrace.
And sure, Washington really can be a rough and tumble place where your only friend, as someone once said, is a dog. Still, it is a little rich for the president, this president, to call anyone out for name calling.
Crooked Hillary Clinton. Little Marco, lying Ted Cruz, lying Ted.
I don't know what I said. I don't remember.
Well, Rosie O'Donnell's disgusting. I mean, both inside and out. You take a look at her, she's a slob.
He's a war hero.
5.5 years.
He's a war hero because he was captured. I like people that weren't captured, okay? I hate to tell you.
Rocket Man should have been handled a long time ago. Jeb Bush is a low-energy person. For him to get things done is hard. Maxine Waters, a very low IQ individual. We have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas.
On a more serious note, the president specifically objected to Democratic Senate Veterans Affairs Committee member Jon Tester coming forward with many of the allegations against Dr. Jackson, including that some people called Dr. Jackson, quote, the Candyman. Well, the president did not say is just what a long tradition of bipartisanship the panel actually has when it comes to the VA and who runs it. With more now on the bipartisan concerns about Dr. Jackson and what the lingering allegations mean for his current job as White House doctor, we're joined by CNN's Phil Mattingly. So, Phil, just to be clear, when it comes to Dr. Jackson, the concerns spanned across the aisle, correct? It wasn't just Democrats who had issues here.
Yeah, look, if you really want to look back, John, the reality is this nomination was on thin ice before the allegations even came out. I talked to a number of Republican senators weeks ago who were very concerned about the qualifications that Dr. Ronny Jackson brought to the job and were very frustrated with the fact that there was almost no consultation, if any at all, before the nomination by tweet that we saw that brought him to the table. Now, that actually has real meaning because when these allegations came to light, there were no natural allies that were willing to come out and fight for him. There was not a lot of enthusiasm. And so as each allegation came out, you would talk to senators, and one told me really flatly, so basically, if any one of these is true, this nomination is done. And John, as we all know now, it didn't even take that.
How much of the blame are lawmakers laying on the White House right now for not vetting Dr. Jackson more thoroughly or at all, frankly?
Yeah, it's a major focal point of theirs right now, not vetting and also not communicating. Take, for example, the top Republican on the committee overseeing the nomination. When these allegations started to surface, he called White House Chief of Staff John Kelly, told him what he was hearing, raised the concerns, and said, kind of, what do you want us to do next? He got nothing in return, is what I'm told. You had several senators, as the allegations came out and became public, who also called the White House, sources tell me. They got nothing in return. You basically had senators and staff who were operating in a complete vacuum of information. In fact, when the pushback actually started from the White House, which you saw rather fiercely a little bit after these allegations came out, they put out a 2-page fact sheet that they sent to Capitol Hill. That fact sheet reached staffers after it reached the media. These are all major problems when you're trying to rally a defense to a nominee that's in trouble.
So there will still be a determination here because he's back being the president's doctor despite these serious allegations.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He's working day to day. And look, the primary reason he's working day to day in the White House right now is the president. And there's no shortage of support from the president. We saw that once again today about how much the president thinks of Ronny Jackson, how much he thinks of his family. But the reality is there are a lot of allegations, some of which are very damaging. I can tell you there's a lot of Republicans who didn't support the nomination who are uncomfortable with the fact that none of them have been confirmed to be true yet. But as you noted, that should come in the future because the Senate still has a say over what happens next with Ronny Jackson.
Phil Mattingly on Capitol Hill. Thanks so much, Phil. Now, MJ Lee joins us with more news on Dr. Jackson and questions about his drug dispensing practices. MJ, you're learning some new things about the White House medical unit. What can you tell us?
Yeah, you're right. That medical unit is a clinic at the White House run by Jackson, and we have some new reporting about a number of troubling practices there. We spoke with 5 former and current employees who worked for Jackson at the medical unit, and they described a grab-and-go culture there when it comes to the medication. White House staffers and officials could get prescription drugs without so much as consulting with a doctor first. They could casually pick up Ambien. This is the very powerful sleeping aid, not just for themselves, but even for their children. And sometimes we are told that prescription was written for someone other than the person that the medication was for. And the key here, John, is that according to our sources, all of these questionable practices were endorsed by Jackson himself. Now, there was such loose control of prescription drugs that multiple people said there was sometimes even a scramble to try to account for these missing medications. Now, Jackson did not comment for this story that we broke today, but do keep in mind that when he withdrew his nomination for VA Secretary yesterday, he said the allegations made against him were completely false and fabricated, and that he always adhered to the highest ethical standards.
MJ, I understand you're learning some specific examples of when things like this happened.
Yeah, 2 examples I want to draw attention to. One, we were told that a well-known Obama official was leaving the administration and he went to the medical unit to get some Provigil. This is a prescription medication that helps you stay awake and alert. The person was given around 20 pills and it was treated as a kind of parting gift for that official. And the second example is that one Obama White House staffer went into that clinic and demanded that he needed Z-Paks. Z-Pak is a strong antibiotic that treats infections, and one of the doctors at the clinic said, no, you need to first get an exam because there are serious heart issues that can come from taking this antibiotic. And that White House staffer then got frustrated and responded, Dr. Jackson said I can just pick it up and I don't have to be seen. And ultimately, we are told that that person was given the Z-Paks without any kind of exam. So that certainly gives you a sense of the casual way in which we were told people could get prescribed meds at the clinic. And the question tonight, of course, is whether Jackson will be able to keep his job. John.
And MJ, at this point, we know that he's not serving as the president's doctor, though he is
Right.
working in the medical office. We're getting more information on that.